Greetings, Nimrods. So picking up on from the last video, we had tried a little experiment. We're trying to keep the wilds stuck to the slugs, sort of like the designs that have a carrier on them, and that did not work. So we're throwing that idea out and going back to the original loadings, and which we're shooting relatively the same as they had before. That's a little bit bigger group than I've done in the past with them at 50 yards. So one thing that occurred to me is that I have not been using the best slugs for these experiments because they're sort of the end of a casting. So I made a new casting and separated all the ones of like sizes. Got anything with a imperfection size or visual out of the group. So these are all. See, I'll hold up close to the camera so you can see there, but it's 0.683 is what that's reading. And when I do this, I measure along the axis of the drive key in the casting, and then I turn it 90 degrees and measure that again. So there you go, along the axis. Otherwise, it's really kind of hard to get absolutely perfect consistency with these. You have to draw the line somewhere. So here we go. Turning that 90 degrees. You can see that there. You can see that very clearly that both was 0.683. So these are all the ones that are the same. The ones to the right of it are a little bit bigger. They're not bad, but they're all consistent. But we'll just put those aside until the next casting. So we're going to powder coat these with some blurry orange. We'll put these in. Then we'll talk about some of the seconds that we casted, and again, I'm just picking the very best of the best here for the experiments we're doing, just to see if it does make a difference. Because again, some of those slugs I've been using more recently are basically the seconds from a casting I did quite a while ago. I had a lot of them, so it was just hadn't been willing to take the mold off the shelf and have at it. There we go. Let's take a look here. And so we've got our tweezers for taking these things out. And, so many of you probably have done a lot of powder coating. I'm just getting into it now. I thought it would be a good idea to powder coat these and then see how much it adds to the diameter of them. Historically, I've found, I have done on that first casting of these slugs years ago, I did the same thing. I did sort them into different groups, and I did find that the larger ones seemed to be more accurate. Although I would actually put them in the wad and then push them through the particular barrel I was using at the time, which was not rifled. And okay, these are ready to go in, and see how tight they fit. And there was a limit. There was a point where you didn't want to use them. So regardless of what these come out at, we'll do that test again just to make sure we're not making the pressure too high. Okay, so now these are the seconds from measuring it. And what I found with these is that as I was sorting them, some are not concentric. They're larger on one side than the other. So these, I took these all out. They may be a difference of, 3 to 5 thousandths of an inch. If they're within, a thousandth or two, I left them with the other group. But I see that one's 681. The other side might have been 684. So they're not terrible, but so we're not going to use those for any accuracy experiments. We'll use those for hunting expired soup cans or something. Now in front of me here I have the ones that were visually separated. I never measured these. I just, as I was going through, I said, "Oh, that's got a little wrinkle on it. That one's going in the second spin." And then I took a punch and made a mark on the face of it so I can distinguish those after they're powder coated from the other seconds. Because the other seconds really aren't bad. So here, this is some stock footage, because it was late at night when I was doing this. So one thing I won't do again is I put it on top of parchment paper there instead of directly on the saw blade, thinking that it would make them pop off the saw blade a little easier, and that did not work. It stuck to the paper, and now each one of these has a little parchment patch on the top of it. It's just, half thickness. So here's the moment of truth. We're going to measure this along the axis, and what are we going to get? Measure it the other way, and it is consistent. So that's reading 0.686. So it's about 0.03 of an inch larger than before it was powder coated. And it is consistent on both sides. So there you go. We'll slug these down the bore with the wad on them just to make sure that they'll feel right. I think they'll be fine. So there you go. Hopefully you like this video. Make sure you like this video and share it with your social media friends. And subscribe. Remember, Nimrod wants you to subscribe. Happy hunting, Nimrods.